What incredible things happen when you stop settling for a life that looks good on paper and start choosing one that feels alive with the dreams and desires you haven't claimed yet. It's your host, Katie Kay, artist, mentor, entrepreneur, founder of the Creator Code, and mentor for women ready for the best chapter of their life. Are you ready for more? Fuck yes. Let's go, my loves. Hi. I wasn't actually going to record today. I have some really big things happening and I have a lot to do. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do those other things today. But something really wanted to come through. And so I don't know that this will be the length of my normal episodes. We're just going to see. But I have something really important that I want to share with you about purpose, about growth, about becoming more you, and about your edges. As you know, I've recently taken an incredible trip to California, to Joshua Tree, where I met with 21 women who I have been in an online container with for 6 months. Basically since everything changed for me, since I stepped into an incredible portal of growth and expansion and began to work on these new offerings that I want to bring to the world that are just about ready to give to you. And it was really beautiful to step into this real life space, this tangible in-person space after spending so long online together. I value the physical presence and intimacy that comes from being in the same room. Much as I do adore online spaces, they've been a really big part of my life for a very long time. It was truly incredible to be in person and to feel so held and welcome by every single one of these beautiful sisters in this container. I had many cathartic experiences, many epiphanies, many beautiful moments of growth and togetherness and realization. I really felt the power of this sisterhood and just so many beautiful conversations as well that really filled my cup. One particular conversation has left a real mark on me. We were driving together, me and my roomies. I stayed with 3 women and we were just laughing and joking together about, loving each other and spending this time together. And I very lightheartedly said, well, what do you love about me? Tell me what you love about me. And one of the women said, she told a little story. She said, at some stage in my life, I had this amazing yoga teacher, and the teacher said to me that I wasn't filling my edges, the edges of my being, and that I should take up more of me, more of who I am, and fill the edges of my being. And she said, and Katie, you fill the edges of your being. And that pours out of you. And I literally burst into tears because I felt that it was just such a powerful compliment, specifically about my growth, because I didn't always used to be this person. I've climbed mountains and walked through fire and hit the very depths of rock bottom multiple times before I became who I am now. And it felt so beautiful to be recognized, because all I've ever wanted is to show up as who I truly am, to be truthful and honest and authentic And that's really all I ever want from the world around me too. That feels like the most beautiful part of life, to see others in their truth and their expression. And that's where my mission came from, to guide women to reclaim their sacred desire so that they can create an unforgettable fuck yes life, which is exactly what I am doing, what I have been in the process of doing for the past few years, and what I'm still doing. So to be seen and recognized in that was truly powerful. And I loved the way she put it, because I've never heard anyone put it quite like that before. And so it set me on a little journey of thought and pondering and conversations with some of my female friends about this. And I want to share some of those things with you today in this episode. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love for you to drop in the comments how this landed and what you think and how you feel about it, so that I can really feel where you're at. I believe that when we're born, we have limitless potential. Babies and small children are geniuses. I've heard it said, and I can't quote exactly because I'm not really a researcher and I'm probably never going to pull up a bunch of facts on this podcast for you. You can do that yourself if you want to. But I heard it said that at age 3, something like 70-something% of children are at genius status, whatever that may mean, however you want to interpret that. And then as they get older and start to assimilate into society, like go to school, because that's the second biggest conditioning that we get as young people, the first being our parents and our upbringing. As that happens, the genius level drops and drops and drops until it reaches a point where only a very, very small percentage of the population are considered genius. Now, I want to dispute that, because I believe that we are all genius. We all have this limitless genius inside us. And part of my mission is helping you to uncover that and step into that. So I'm disputing that it goes, but it gets buried and it gets trained out of us through our circumstances, our schooling, the parts of life that we have no control over, the experiences that we encounter and live through. And so does our potential, so does our purpose. And this incredible imprint that we are given at birth, it gets buried under layers and layers and layers of other things. And I believe our purpose on this earth is to find that original true self and live the fuck out of it. And that brings us to our purpose. And that's why so many of us don't discover our purpose until we've been through some really big growth lessons. We might think we might get glimmers of it, and we might set out on certain paths because we get given a clue, like a little breadcrumb to follow. But life has this uncanny way of throwing things at us. And we often have no choice but to catch them or be knocked down by them. And so that path becomes more and more wild and meandering. And sometimes we get so far away from our purpose that we never come back to it. And so the process of life, of growth, of change, of time takes us away from our essence, our original imprint. And so whatever you believe, whatever your belief system is, we have work to do. No matter what, we have work to do. And that work is to return to the state of infinite potential, to ourselves. That's the work. to return and to remember. And I really believe that the purpose of life is to be ourselves. It's just that in order to get there, to do that, there's a lot of stuff that we've got to work through and get out of the way and process and figure out. And you could call that karma. You could call that blueprint. You could call that fate, destiny. Any number of things. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's all leading to the same thing. The process of growth and expansion is the process of becoming more you. More you. More you. And so I believe that in growth, we have this experience of figuring out where the edges are. And they're our edges, the edges of our being, like my beautiful friend said. We have to find where they are first, because if we don't know where they are, then we don't know how to meet them. And in growth, whether it's of our own volition, whether we have willingly said yes to something that's going to expand us, or whether it's a process of working through a life event, we're going to the edges of our being and we're filling them in some way. We're filling them. We're expanding ourselves to our edges. If you imagine you're wearing like the baggiest sweats. In Australia, we call it a tracksuit. You're wearing the baggiest sweats, the baggiest tracksuit that you can, and you can't really tell where the tracksuit ends and your body begins. But if you could feel the tracksuit, you would feel the edges, you would feel the fabric touching your skin. And that's what expansion is. It's touching the edges. It's filling our beings. That's why expansion feels like we're taking up more space. We're getting bigger. We're becoming more us. We're becoming more us. And then when you get there, when you feel the edges, you realize there's more. A new edge forms and it's further away from the current one that you just filled. And so really the growth journey is just getting bigger, taking up more space, becoming more you, meeting your edges over and over again. And sometimes we have an experience that contracts us and we pull away from the edges and we shrink ourselves and we become smaller again for a while, and then we expand and we feel our edges again. This process of returning and remembering and meeting our edge over and over, this is our medicine. This is what we needed to receive in order to complete the circuit. And as we become more of ourselves, more of us, more of the original, we can start to give that medicine back to the world around us, to our family, our friends, our clients, in whatever way feels right, whatever is meant for us. Because we've received it and we have the insight and the wisdom because we've walked the path. And that way of thinking, I feel, gives a completely different perspective on pain and suffering and trauma. To me right now, at this threshold that I stand in, that also feels like the threshold of menopause. The role that we're meant to take on the other side of that threshold is the elder, the medicine woman. That's the sacred role that women and matriarchs have had for thousands of years. And yet, in modern society, at middle age, at midlife, we shrink, we hide, we become invisible, we disappear, we take up less space. Not because we're meant to, because society told us that. Because as women, we've lost our value. Because we've been trained that our value is in our youth, our beauty, and our fertility. Well, I don't agree. That's a value that women have, yes. And some of that is very important at other stages of life, and maybe you're in that stage, and I don't want to take that away from you. But if you're in this stage that I'm in right now, about to turn 50, either behind me by 10 years or ahead of me by 10 years, I want you to know that this threshold, this chapter is a rite of passage. And on the other side, we're meant to lead. We're meant to take up more space. We're meant to share our medicine. And if that means that in meeting your edges, you're more wild, more feral, more unhinged, more kooky, more crazy, more naughty, if that means that you're standing in your power, that you're tapping into your eros, that you are more whole, more expressive, louder, if you have more rage, a stronger mission, great, because the world needs that. And women right now need that. We need each other, and we need the medicine that we're all carrying. I am here to transmit. And I don't always know exactly what that is. It's a role and a frequency that I've been learning to embody and step into, learning how to inhabit more fully. And I want to take you there too. So, my friends, please stay close. I would love to have you come into my community. If this resonated and you feel called, pop into the show notes and find the link to join my email list. In about 6 days from this episode going live, I'm going to be offering something to the world that has never existed before. It's my gift. It's my medicine. It's what I needed, and I'm giving it to you. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm fully at my edge. And as soon as it drops, the expansion will happen and there'll be a new edge for me to meet. And I don't know what's on the other side. I don't know what's going to come next for this podcast. For me, for you, for anything. And I love that. I love that so much. So if you've been here for the journey so far up to episode 9, thank you. Thank you for supporting me, for receiving me, for your comments and subscribes and ratings. I appreciate you very much. And I'm just getting started. So stay close to the fire, you rad creator. I'll see you soon.